Today we're covering practice STAAR questions, and I'm only going to give you some hints on how to set them up. You're going to have to think and try to figure out the problems by yourself. Number 1, a student in a foreign language program learns 15 new words each week. Which graph best represents the relationship between X, the number of weeks the student has been in the program, and Y, the total number of new words the student has learned? Make yourself a T-chart, the X's and the Y's. And the X is supposed to be the number of weeks, and the Y is supposed to be the total number of words. And it says 15 new words each week. So in 1 week, 15 words. In 2 weeks, that would be double that, which is 30 words. In 3 weeks, each time we're adding 15 more, so that would be 45. Now look at the charts, the graphs, and see which ones match, and make sure you pay attention to the labels. Which ones match the T-chart that you just made? Number 2, Pamela rode her bike at a constant rate of 0.1 kilometers per minute. Which table represents Y, the number of kilometers Pamela rode her bike in X minutes? Again, make yourself an XY chart. X, it says, is minutes, and Y is the number of kilometers. And the rate is 0.1 or 1/10 kilometer per minute. So for each minute, it's 0.1 kilometer. So in 2 minutes, it would be 0.2. But none of these graphs have a 2. They have a 5. So let's see if we can figure out what they're doing. What are we multiplying by each time? Think, what are they doing to 1 to make it into 0.1? Well, they would multiply by 0.1. What if we did that to 2? 2 times 0.1 would get us 0.2. So let's try that same pattern. 5 times 0.1, that would be 0.5. And then all of them have 10s, so 10 times 0.1. That's 1. That's probably enough for you to figure out which chart it is. Number 3, cheddar cheese costs $4.25 per pound. Write an equation to represent Y, the total cost of X pounds of cheddar cheese. The key is right there, $4.25 per pound. Per means to multiply. So that amount times pounds. So $4.25 times pounds. We don't know how many pounds. They said to use a letter. Number 4, Blake uses 450 inches of steel wire to make 300 springs of the same size. At this rate, how many inches of steel wire are needed to make 1 spring? There's 3 numbers, and there's 2 descripting words, inches and springs. So that's going to be a proportion. We're comparing inches and springs. This is our rate because it's in the same sentence. 450 inches to 300 springs. And we're trying to predict for one spring. What would we do to 300 to turn it into 1? We'd have to divide by 300. So if we do that on top, then you will have your answer. Number 5. Charlie downloaded 264 pictures from her cell phone to her computer. These pictures took up 528 megabytes of space on her computer. Each picture took up the same amount of space. How many megabytes do 35 of these pictures take up? 3 numbers, guys. And we're talking about pictures and megabytes. So pictures and megabytes. And I can set up a proportion. The rate is actually in 2 sentences this time, but it says these pictures and it's referring to that number there. 264 pictures, 528 megabytes. And we're predicting for 35 pictures. I don't see a relationship, so we'll have to cross multiply. 264 times some unknown, that means 264 times n equals 528 times 35. And then you have to divide to figure out what n equals. It's a big number. Be real careful when you divide. Chris bought 10.4 gallons of gasoline. There are approximately 3.8 liters in 1 gallon. How many liters of gasoline did Chris buy? 3 numbers and 2 different descripting words. That's a proportion. We're comparing gallons to liters. So the rate, all there together, 3.8 liters to 1 gallon. And we're trying to figure out for 10.4 gallons. This time there is a relationship. What could I do to 1 to make it 10.4? I would need to multiply by 10.4. So if I do that on bottom, I'll have the answer. 10.4 times 3.8. Number 7. The distance between 2 towns is 120 kilometers. There are approximately 8 kilometers and 5 miles. How many miles are between the 2 towns? 3 numbers and 2 words. Kilometers and miles. The rate is all right there in that one sentence, 8 kilometers, 5 miles, and we're predicting for 120 kilometers. I can't simplify, and I don't really see the relationship, so I'm going to have to cross multiply. 8 times some unknown would be 8 times n, and 5 times 120 is 600. Then to figure out what n is, we divide by 8, and that will be your answer. Number 8. During 1 month, Brianna used 785 gallons of water at her home. There are approximately 3.8 liters in 1 gallon. How many liters did Brianna use during this month? Again, we're comparing liters and gallons. And there's 3 numbers. Liters and gallons. The rate is there in one sentence, 3.8 liters, 1 gallon. And we're predicting for 785 gallons. There is a clear relationship. We need to multiply 1 times 785. So if we do that on bottom, we will have the answer. 785 times 3.8. Number 9. Triangle HJK is similar to triangle LMN. What proportion could be used to calculate the length of LM in centimeters? You're comparing a big triangle to the little triangle. And according to what they said in the problem, H matches with L, and J matches with M, and K matches with N. So that means 7.5 goes with this measurement, and 6 goes with this measurement, and 4.5 goes with this one. Notice that I put all of the little markings, all of the little measurements inside the big triangle. So everything that has to do with the little triangle is now inside the big triangle, and they match up together. These are going to be my fractions that I put in my proportion. And you can pick. You just need 2. So we have to use the side that's L to M, because that's the side they were talking about in the problem. So you must use this side. So some unknown, give it a letter, or they just called it LM, matches with what? What does LM match with? 4.5. So everywhere you see LM, you're going to put 4.5. That's the measurement for the little triangle. And then you match the big triangle. 9 matches with the little number 6. And you figure out for the other one. Number 10, triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. What proportion could be used to find the length of DE in centimeters? So it's basically the same problem, different letters, different numbers. A matches with D, B matches with E, C matches with F, and then the sides match with those sides. So these are the fractions that go in my proportion. Those numbers have to be matched up. Everywhere 5 is, 15 has to be. 3 needs to be beside 9, and 4 needs to be beside the unknown, which they're calling DE, because that's D to E. So DE matched with 4, and 15 goes with 5. And you can figure out the other one.